Well, he came out right when they were lining up for the play, so I was busy, talking about the secondary and the offensive alignment. He ran right through the formation, so he had become part of the play, and the ball was seconds from being snapped, and he ran through it. And the players stood straight up, and they blew the whistles, and the guy ran around and tried to take off his shirt. And so I was just kind of calling what I was seeing, which was normal for, the previous 2.5 hours. That's what he was doing. That's what was going on. But then when I saw that it was kind of lighthearted and he wasn't going out there with anything nefarious, and guys in the booth started laughing. I was with Kurt Warner, and it was a pretty dull game, to be quite honest.
Now you think?
And that's what happened. You've heard it, and that's exactly what happened. Now, if the people laughing in the booth, it kind of fuels the fire a little bit too.
Yeah, you start playing to the crowd a little, right?
Yeah,
I got you. That's awesome. Kevin Harlan with us here on Tiki and Tierney.
Now, if it had been a tight game, would you have taken it more serious?
Good question. I absolutely. You know what? I'd have been ticked off because
good point.
It's my 32nd year broadcasting the NFL, and I love the game and I respect the game. And if that would have happened in a tie game, fourth quarter, on national radio, I would have been. Well, here comes some guy out in the field, and probably would have engaged Kurt Warner in talking about strategy or who's in or what's happened so far, and let the cops do what they did. But the game lacked any sizzle. And that really was about the most intriguing, compelling thing that, I hate to say it, that had happened to that point. We were early in the fourth quarter, as I recall. I've heard a snippet of the call, and I don't even recall really where it was in the game, but I do know it was in the fourth quarter, and I think a couple touchdowns have been scored. But in a close game, you're right. You deal with the game, and you play to your audience because that's what they're listening for.
Here's what we want you to do here, Kev. So we actually have the whole thing for you. We want you to grade yourself out, cadence and recognition in terms of spots on the field and flow and descriptive nature. This was you the other night. Go ahead.
3rd and 4, looks into the nickel of San Francisco in the secondary. Hey, somebody has run out on the field. Some goofball in a hat and a red shirt. Now he takes off the shirt. He's running down the middle by the 50. He's at the 30. He's bare-chested and banging his chest. Now he runs the opposite way. He runs at the 50. He runs at the 40. The guy is drunk, but there he goes. The 20. They're chasing him. They're not going to get him. Waving his arms, bare-chested. Somebody stop
Look
that
out,
man.
Here comes the blue coat,
Oh,
Kevin.
they got him.
Here
They're
comes
coming
the blue
from the
coats.
left. Oh, and they tackle him at the 40-yard line.
Now, radio's all about imagery. So grade yourself there, Kev. What do you think?
Well, I don't know. I probably should have said where he was. Was he in the middle of the field? Was he on the sideline? Was he running? Was he trying to? I think he tried to high five one of the 49er defensive players.
He's lucky he didn't get clothesline.
And he had none of that. And the cops or the security people were slow to get on the field. I mean, he ran around what seemed like forever. And that probably added to it, too, the fact that he was just kind of running unabated, and no one was doing anything. And I was thinking, actually, what I was thinking about? Mike Curtis for the old Baltimore Colts, cold-cocked a guy who ran out in the field like that. I mean, just gave him a forearm shiver, and the guy went straight down. I think he was out. And, the players now are so cautious about, you don't want to get involved. He might have a weapon or whatever. So I don't know. It's just we're 7 stories up, and we were in the end zone. that was our vantage point, and so it was long distance view, but that's what it was.
Right, it worked out well. Kevin Harlan, WestWood One CBS, with us here on Tiki and Tierney.
Now, Kevin, as the play-by-play guy and Kurt as the analyst, you guys get an opportunity to sit down with both teams, or at least the pertinent characters on both teams, including Jeff Fisher, who we've had a lot of discussions about over the last couple of days. Some his decision-making, his ability to hang on to his job and get an extension somehow. But we saw it play out via Hard Knocks. But does it feel like this team is not coalesced?
Well, I don't know. We did not talk to Fisher before the game for this particular one. It was my 3rd in 5 days. We had the opener Thursday in Denver, and then I had the
Man, they're not paying you enough, whatever they're paying you.
Kansas City game on Sunday for CBS TV, and then this one. So I'd flown out to San Francisco that morning. So we had not talked to Coach Fisher, but I have in the past. And this topic has come up a lot, actually, about how he has been able to stay so long, yet it has not, translated into a lot of wins. I don't think they've had a winning season since '03. He hasn't been there since '03, but the team not since '03. And they were 500, I think, last in '06. So they were 7-9 last year. The one thing about Fisher is he's almost and Les Snead is their GM. So they are truly connected at the hip.
Mm-hmm.
They are, trying to build from the ground up. They've not succeeded in the quarterback. The number 1 overall pick is inactive for the first game, may now play this week. But I don't. He's more than just a football coach. He is a guy that's had to have 2 franchise moves under his watch. We know he can with the right quarterback, he can get to where he needs to get, but that's been the elusive thing, is getting the quarterback. And I think, like a lot of coaches, you're kind of tied to who's under center. And listen, the league right now, I think, is at a critical juncture with the lack of quarterbacking. It's never been worse. And one of the reasons why is because these guys can't work at the facility in the off season, where they've had, years of quarterback school in the past and time in the locker room and out on the field, just the quarterbacks themselves and maybe a skeletal receiving crew to throw to, but working on footwork and body turn and torque and all the things that a quarterback needs. That no longer is there. So you're not seeing the education of these quarterbacks. And the Rams are a great case in point. They've got Case Keenum and Mannion, and the number 1 overall pick is inactive. So that team is at a critical stage, and they got some issues right now. And obviously it ends with the coach, but that's been, I think, Fisher's problem. He's not had a quarterback really since the late Steve McNair at the Tennessee Titans.
That's Kevin Harlan with us here on Tiki and Tierney. Kevin, we'll let you run. I just want to run this by you as well. At least you get a little treat in theory on paper. After the dud the other night, you got the Falcons, Raiders, CBS coming up. Raiders with a nice win on the road. Falcons, a tough loss against a pretty good Bucs team, but you get to see Carr, and obviously Matty Ryan's still pretty good. And then Monday on the radio side for WestWood One, you get a look at Carson Wentz and whoever the hell the Bears, not the Browns, and Jay
right,
Cutler.
Chicago Bears, right.
You get some good quarterback play, get some good games to go here for week 2.
You're right, and I'm excited about this week, and this has a lot to it. I like last weekend we had Alex Smith of Kansas City and of course Phillip Rivers, who I've got a lot of respect for in San Diego. This is a fun game. Everyone's talking about the Raiders. They've made some free agent acquisitions. The rookies are paying off for once. It's been a 5-year process for them to draft the way they have and build up. I'm anxious to see Derek Carr, and Rich Gannon is my broadcast partner on Sunday and Boomer on Monday. So quarterbacking will be very interesting to lock into with these 2 games. So I'm excited to hear their impressions of these 2 guys, because Wentz, what he did for Philadelphia, I think shocked the NFL world with so few preseason snaps and a supposed rib injury. So that's going to be a good story on Monday night in Chicago.